And we're back. You probably remember this car from the other video, the LED headlight bulb swap. Well, now we go do a rotor swap. We go do some change the rotors on this bad boy. I already took the front wheel off. I figured I didn't have to show y'all how to take the front wheel off, because if you don't know how to take your front wheel off, you probably shouldn't be doing this in the first place. Anyway, we go change the rotors on it, and so far we got the wheel off, and I'm gonna show you how to get the caliper off. Right now, just to get the caliper off, you should go and loosen this bolt right here, and then there's another one right there. We go, right where my hand at, right here. And so far those two bolts is a 14, so you go get a 14 millimeter or 9/16. Take these two bolts off, and this whole caliper right here will come off. Then all we have to worry about is the caliper bracket. So once I get that off, I'll be right back. As you can see, those two bolts remove the actual caliper. Just for a heads up, if you turn in this 14 millimeter and it doesn't seem to want to loosen, make sure this right here is in turning with it. If the whole thing turned, it won't come loose. Put a 1/4 inch wrench on here and hold it while you're trying to unloosen the 14 millimeter, and that should break it loose. So remove the 14 millimeters. If you have to hold this while you're doing it. That'll remove the caliper part. And now we have to remove the actual caliper bracket. The bracket is held together by, where's my finger? Right there. This bolt right here is a 17 or 11/16. You got one here and the other one's down there. I already got the wrench on it, or you could use a socket, whatever you want to use. But as you can see, 17 or 11/16, they're both the same. Unloosen these two bolts and this caliper bracket should come right off. Don't forget to remove the actual pads. You don't have to, but you know, the choice is yours. So remove those, and then we'll move on to actually getting the rotor off. Alright, so as you can see, we got the bracket off. That's the bracket. These are the two 17 millimeter 11/16 bolts, and everything's all clear. Now to get the rotor off, you're gonna have two nightmares. Hopefully not, but it was a nightmare for us. Phillips screws. One was here, one was down there. As you can see, this whole rotor is rusty.
Be careful.
The wheels are open wheels, so water gets in here and they rust them.
There you go.
When they get rusty, they get hard to come out. It's only a Phillips screw, so you know it'll strip easily.
Hey, boy, you're going too
And
far.
you could try a impact driver, but sometimes that don't work. What I ended up doing, I drilled mine out. I went with a small drill bit. What did I use? I used a 1/4. Yeah, 1/4. And then I went to I don't know if it was, I forgot if it was the 3/16 or the 5/32. But anyway, I went small, then I went big, and I drilled them out. This is the head right here. I drilled right through it. And once I went through it, the head of the screw popped out. And that's fine, because the head is what holds the rotor on anyway. And just to let you know, you won't be able to put screws back in there. But in reality, you don't need them. Because once you put the rim on and then put the lug nuts will hold all this in. This is just a dealership extra safety precaution type ordeal. You do not need them. And a lot of people, once they go through this much trouble to get them out, they don't put them back in anyway. So you be alright. So if you're having trouble with these, drill them out. Start with a small bit, get a little bigger, and that head will fall right off. And as you can see, it's rusty in here. What I did, I sprayed it down with PB Blaster silicone spray, or you can get that PB Blaster penetrating spray, which is pretty much the same thing. And you got to hit the corners. The reason the lug nuts is on, you want to cover the wheel studs with the lug nuts, just in case while you're hitting this, if you miss and hit the wheel stud, you don't mess up the threads. You just hit the actual lug nut. So cover the wheel studs with the lug nuts while you're hammering here, you know, you just want to go from left to right, you know, if you want to go top to bottom, but you just want to hit around to loosen this rotor. I already did that. Sometimes that doesn't work, you got to go wider. What I do, I put a rag over the actual rotor. These rotors, he's not going to use them anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I still cover them with a rag. And you want to hit the outside of the rotor, boom, to the left, to the right. And what it do, it just put pressure to the left of it, to the right of it, and it loosens it up. As you can see, it's loose now. So all I gotta do is remove the lug nuts and remove the rotor and put the new one on and all that. And I'll show you as we progress. All right, so then all you do is slide the new rotor on. Once you slide the new rotor on, it's just a reversal of how you took it off. The caliper bracket goes on first. I don't want to do it with one hand because I don't want to scratch the paint. So I'm going to put the caliper bracket on and then I'll show you how I did it. 1 second. Alright, so I got the bracket on. All you do is sit it on there.
Be careful.
Try to see if I can. There you go. Just line this bracket up with the screw holes and then, you know, put the screw in, thread it in hand tight. Same thing for the bottom. Put that bad boy in like that. This is the 217 11/16 bolts. Put them on like that and then torque them down. I don't use torque specs, I just put them as tight as I can and leave them like that. If you want to use torque specs, you can Google it. I don't know the specs or anything. Like I say, I just make sure everything's tight. That'll be good enough. But do it to your own precaution. You know, your own risk. If you don't feel comfortable, just get the torque specs. I'm pretty sure you can find it on the internet. But like I say, I just tighten it down to it's tight. Now, all we have to do is torque those down and apply the actual brake pads. Try not to there we go. Try not to touch the rotor. Keep that clean. You don't want to get any grease or anything on the rotor, so make sure you try not to touch that while you're putting it together. Now let's get the brake pads on here.
Tortoise.
Tortoise?
There you go.
That's the color.
Now all you have to do is take the brakes. What I usually do, sit it down in the corner. I usually put it in the angle, just like this. An angle like this. Put, let's see if I can do it with one hand. There we go. Put it in the angle, just like that. Then all you gotta do is push it in. Oh, back came out. 1 second. The back fell off, so put it in the angle. There you go. Did it fell out again? Yep, fell out again. Hey, can you hold this for me? Alright. We'll try it with 2 hands now. And make sure that these, oh, that's what it was. This little holder right here, these clips, they gotta be flat. So make sure they're on there. Make sure I put the bottom on first, put it in the angle. As you can see now, it's in there. The clip pad came out. So put it in the angle, and then with your thumb, push it close like that. And that's it. Make sure that's on flush. And do the same thing with the rear. You put the bottom in that same angle. Make sure it's in there, and then squeeze it. Just like that. And that's it, folks. Now, with the rotor, I mean the caliper, let me see if I can take this off. The caliper, you're gonna have to push this piston in because it's adjusted to the old brakes. Now that you got new brakes, the piston is too far out. So you're gonna have to adjust it back in. I probably should have did this. What am I doing? Going the wrong way, that's what I'm doing. Just this is my adjuster. This is how you go put this in. Push the piston in. Put that bad boy in there like so. And you just twist it. Put the old brake pad in there and then use this. And what? Oh, I got the brake pad in there upside down. Give it 1 second. So put it in there like that. And what this go do, as you twist, is go push that piston in. And if you ever see any fluid start dripping from under the hood, that's your brake fluid. As this piston go in, it pushes fluid back up through the line to the reservoir, and it'll make it overflow. So if you ever see it start to overflow, don't worry about it. That's normal. That's usually why I go slow. If you go fast, it usually just take it all the way up and it'll overflow right away. So I usually give it a little bit and then wait a couple seconds. Give it a little bit. And sometimes that works, not all the time. But if it overflow, don't worry about it. Just make sure you wash it off with water, because brake fluid will eat through your paint. And most people probably won't want that. So just push that in till it stops. We almost there. Almost. I think this might be good enough. Pretty much all the way in. Yep. Alright, then back it out. Take it off. Then what you do with this, just slide it on. Just line this hole up with that hole. Make sure the bottom one is lined up. And occasionally, if you can't get it on, just push this. It'll go in and out. Just push it out of the way. And it'll line up. Hold it with one hand. Get the screws. Line them up. Start threading it a little bit. Then same thing with the bottom. And that's it, folks. This is the driver's side. The passenger side is the very same way. So I'm not going to record the passenger front. I just show you how to do the rear. And once you torque this down, once again, I just put mine to they real tight. I don't know the torque numbers or the actual torque specifications. I just put them tight and you be good. So this is how it looks. Once you put the rim and the lug nuts, it'll keep that flush, because we're not going to put these back in because they're a headache to get out whenever you want to do some modifications or changes. So we're not going to worry about that. And this is the finishing outcome. Got the new rotor, new brake pads, painted caliper. We'll throw the rim on in a moment. But for now, let's get that back on. Alright, now we're moving on to the rear. As you can see, the rear rotors are smaller than the front. Even the caliper itself is smaller than the front. But it's the same process. The rear one, the bolt that's holding the caliper is a 12. So they got a 12 at the top. And then, it's pretty dark in here. There's a 12 at the bottom right there. As you can see, I already loosened it. So it's a 12 millimeter at the bottom. And it's a 12 at the top. So get your 12 millimeter wrench or ratchet, whichever way you want to do it. If you can get some vice grips on there, get it loose. Whatever you use to get it loose. But the actual size of the bolt is 12. And once you loosen these, the caliper come off. Now right now the caliper isn't gonna come off because I have the handbrake on. So if you ever take off these two screws and the caliper just won't budge, make sure you don't have the handbrake on. If the handbrake on, that means the brakes are applied in the rear, and this caliper is under tension and it won't come off. So make sure you loosen the handbrake, then it should be able to come off. So I'm gonna go release the handbrake, make sure everything is secure. We're in the driveway, don't want the car to roll, and I'll show you the rest from there. Alright, so I released the handbrake, got the caliper off. As you can see, the piston on this rear caliper is different than the front. I'll show you how to get that in a moment. The rear, once again, it's a 17 millimeter, 11/16 at the bottom, and it's another one at the top, right there. So take those two off, and the caliper bracket, as you can see, it's already loose. The pads are still in there. You don't have to take them off, but if you want, you can remove them. Take those two bolts out, and then the caliper bracket will come off. So we're gonna take that off right now. Alright, so remove the caliper brackets. Same process. You got to get these two Phillips screws out. Luckily, this one was missing. That one was already loose, and as you can see, the rotor is already loose. So I just sprayed it. I think I hit it like one time and it came loose. So all I gotta do is pull this off and put the new stuff back on and get that caliper piston twisted back in. So it's the same process as the front. Now let's get the new rotors on, the new brakes, and push that caliper back in. Alright, so we got the caliper bracket, the rotor. Got the new rotors on there, just slip them on, no problem. Got that caliper bracket on. Put the, there you go, that bolt right there in the back, already torqued it down. 17 millimeter, 11/16, there go the other one. Focus, camera, focus. My finger at, but anyway, camera's not focused, there we go. This bolt right here, 17, 11/16. So all we have to do now, put the brakes on, put the caliper back on. Can you hold that real quick? I'm just gonna put the brakes on. To put the brakes on is the same way as the front. 90% of the time, this is that little sensor. When your brakes start to squeak, when the pads get low, this metal touches the rotor and it make that squeaking noise. So 90% of the time, this goes towards the back. So same thing as before. Put the bottom on first. Like I said, I put it in an angle. I can't really see it right now. Make sure that, there you go. Make sure these clips is in flush, or they'll keep it from going in. And you just push it flat. Let me get the other one. The other one should be, yeah. I usually just size them up with the old ones, make sure everything's facing the same direction and all that. But the outer one usually don't have that metal bracket on it, which is the sensor to make the brakes squeak. That one usually goes towards the front. Same thing. Put it on there in that angle. Put the bottom in first, and then line up the top. Then push them on flat like that. That's all you got to do. The brakes is on. Now with the rear caliper, instead of just pushing it straight in with that tool that I use from the front, this one won't go straight in. This cross right here actually goes on the back of the brake pad. It got to line up with this little nipple right here. This nipple goes into that cross, and when this one comes out and goes in, it actually twists out and twists in. So to get it to go back in, you gotta push and twist. The ones in the front, you just gotta push. That's why you just twist it and it'll go right in. I don't know why they use these on the back. What's the difference? I'm not sure. But to get that to go in, I usually use a crowbar. You know, the crowbar has the big screwdriver type end to it. I usually put the flat part in here, And you know, the crowbar is kind of shaped like an L, and I twist and push with a crowbar to go in there. But I bought a tool that's specifically for these, so I'm gonna try it out today. I haven't used it since I bought it, but let's see if I can figure it out. I don't even know what half of this stuff goes. Oh, I need to close that.
What's up, YouTube? Here's me. I don't know if y'all are the same
like
people, but
magnetic
like,
or
you know.
something, huh? Oh. This in there.
Hey, Dad, you know what's good?
Oh boy, there's a lot going on.
Daddy, it's good to waste time to make it be nighttime, so.
Hold up, Ivan, I got ear plugs. I can't even hear you, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, something like that. Why is this? What's the point of this?
Stay here, YouTube. I'll be back in a minute.
Alright. Alright, so I got this tool from eBay. And basically, you come with all these adapters. What I found out, with this car, you don't need none of the adapter. The actual front end has the same two, I'm gonna call them nipples. I don't know what else to call them, but it got these two nipples on it made onto it already. So we didn't have to put no adapters. I just put that. And then this backing, you just gotta put it on there and you twist this until this get tight against the actual caliper, and then you twist it, and as you twist, you will see this part twist and go in. So it's kind of hard. See how it's twisting and going in. I didn't think it'd be that hard, but it's pretty hard, folks. Gotta regain my composure. Oh yeah, that's hard. See the rubber right here? It's not leaking, so it should be all right. Usually when you see fluid come out, that's when you got a problem. All right, what's going on?
I think it slipped off.
Oh. All right, so it slipped off. We just make some few adjustments. We almost in. I see as it goes in, you gotta keep adjusting this this back plate right here. It gets looser. Wants to come off. There we go. It actually got looser. It's not as hard anymore. We almost in there. A few more turns. I know my hand's blocking it, but I'm trying to get grip. Alright. Usually you just go into it stop, but it looked like it's all the way. Yeah, there we go. It stopped already. So this tool, it came in handy. It's actually easier than using the crowbar. And just have to keep adjusting this. As it goes in, this was loosening up, but for some reason right now it's still tight. But anyway, now you just yeah, just figure out how to get this up.
Like cut.
Now I gotta get a wrench that fit this and twist it clockwise to take the tension off. I don't know what size wrench that is. Let me figure it out right now. Oh, yeah. Alright, so it's a 7/8. You get a 7/8 on there, and then you just want to take some of that tension off here. You know what? I think I'm going the wrong way. Yeah. I said, yeah, clockwise. And that takes the tension off. Once you get the tension off, it'll come off. And this is what I'm talking about. This one already has made into it a plate that'll work for the Accord. But if this plate didn't work, they give you extra ones down here that you can, for instance, we was gonna use the 7 until we found out this worked without it. You just put that on there. It's like an adapter, and make it universal for more than one car. But we didn't even need these. That worked just fine. And then this plate right here, you actually have to put it on. It don't be on there. You just slip that in and put it on like that. Alright, so now that this piston is in, you just take it, slide it over the brake pads, line it up with the screw holes. And I usually try to line one side up first. Usually at the top. Get it started. And that'll hold it until you line up the bottom.
Airplane!
Like I say, sometimes you gotta push that in. Make sure that everything's lined up. It's all good. Tighten everything down, and that's it. This is the finished product. We got the rotors on the front and the rear of the driver's side. Now we have to go over to the passenger side, but I'm not going to film that because it's the same process as what we just did. So if you like the video, like, subscribe, and we get back to you to our next project.